In just a few weeks, millions of us are going to sit down and write our New Year's resolutions. We're going to feel that surge of motivation, that spark of hope that this will be the year everything finally changes. We'll buy the gym membership, sign up for the course, and promise ourselves we'll become a totally new person. But let's be honest, most of us won't. The statistics on this are brutal. Research consistently shows that only a tiny fraction of people who make resolutions, somewhere around 6 to 9%, actually accomplish them. In fact, a huge chunk, about 23%, will have already quit within the very first week of January. By the time February rolls around, over 40% will have given up. Why? Why do we repeat this cycle of hope and failure year after year? Because we're all missing the single most important step: real, sustainable growth. We get so focused on the future, on the new year, that we completely ignore the goldmine of information we already have, the year that's about to end. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through the one thing you absolutely must do before this year ends, or you're pretty much destined to repeat the same patterns, face the same frustrations, and end the next year in the same exact place you are right now. So let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was the undisputed queen of failed resolutions. I used to get so hyped for January 1st. I have a brand new planner, a list of ridiculously audacious goals, and this deep-seated belief that willpower, just sheer willpower, was all I needed to transform myself. One year, my goals were to wake up at 5 a.m. every day to do yoga, write a book, at least one in the year, and then lose 20 plus pounds and double my income somehow. Sounds impressive, right? Like the kind of ambition success is made of. But by January 15th, I was a wreck. I was exhausted and I snoozed those 5 a.m. alarms more times than I could count. I hadn't written a single word because I was too tired and overwhelmed. The scale had not moved, not even 1 pound, probably because my exhaustion led me straight to binging. And my income? Exactly the same, because I was too busy feeling like a total failure to focus on any real growth. I didn't just fail, I crashed and burned spectacularly. And the worst part wasn't even the failure itself, it was the crushing shame that came with it. It made me feel like like there was something fundamentally wrong with me. Why could other people do it? Why did I lack the discipline, the drive, that it factor? The problem wasn't my goals. It wasn't my ambition. The problem was that I built my entire future on a fantasy. I didn't take a single moment to look back at the year I just lived through. I didn't ask myself why. I wasn't already waking up early. I didn't analyze why my income was stuck. I didn't reflect on the habits, beliefs, and patterns that defined my last 12 months. I was trying to build a skyscraper on a dumpster fire. I was ignoring the data, the evidence, the lessons that were sitting right there waiting for me. It's like being a ship captain who sets a new course for this distant island without ever looking at the actual ship log to see how it handled the last storm, or checking the maps to see the reefs you need to avoid. We set goals based on who we wish we were, not on an honest understanding of who we are right now. This isn't a recipe for success. It's a guaranteed path to disappointment. And that cycle will keep repeating until you realize you can't create a new future without first making peace with and learning from your past. So what's the alternative to this endless cycle of failure? It isn't about being less ambitious. It's not about setting smaller goals. It's about being smarter. It's about being more intentional. The solution is what I call the non-negotiable annual review. So I know that's a huge word, but Just think about it. No successful business would dream of planning for the next year without first doing a massive review of the last one. They look at sales data, profit margins, customer feedback, what projects worked, what flopped, and why. They dig into the numbers and the feedback to make informed decisions. They don't just throw a bunch of new random goals at the wall and hope that something sticks. So why on earth would we treat our own lives, the most important project we'll ever have, with less care and strategic thought than a corporation? I know. Your life is generating data every single day. Your calendar, your bank account, and your moods are like the ship's logbook that I mentioned. They contain all the critical information about your journey. An annual review is simply hitting pause to actually read that logbook. It's your personal shareholder meeting where you, the CEO, the shareholder, and the product are all coming together to review last year's progress. By looking back, you gain incredible clarity. You start to see the hidden currents that have been pulling your life on autopilot. You figure out what truly brings you joy versus what you think should bring you joy. You learn from your mistakes so you don't repeat them, and you understand your successes so that you can replicate them. This isn't about dwelling on the past or beating yourself up, not at all. This is an act of deep self-compassion, genuine curiosity, and smart strategic planning. It's about honoring the journey you've been on and using the wisdom you've gained to build a future that isn't just a hopeful fantasy, but a well-designed reality. This process is the bridge between the person you were this year and the person you're capable of becoming next year. And today, I'm going to give you the exact 5-step system that I personally use every single December to get it done. So, the very first step before you pick apart a single thing is to celebrate. This part is non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. Our brains literally have a negativity bias. We're wired to obsess over our failures and shortcomings. It's like we have a superpower for spotting one tiny crack in the wall while ignoring the beautiful painting hanging on it. This audit is designed to fight back against that. We are going to start with gratitude. Grab a notebook or open a new doc and create 2 columns, wins and losses. First, let's fill up the wins column. So your job is to list out everything you're proud of from this past year. And I want you to be ruthlessly kind to yourself here. No win is too small. Did you finally clean out that junk drawer that's been mocking you for the last 2 years? Write it down. Did you get a nice compliment from your boss on a project? Go ahead and write that down too. Did you manage to keep all your houseplants alive? Write it down. Think about all the different parts of your life: career, finances, health, relationships, personal growth. What were the happiest moments? What were you genuinely grateful for? Maybe you started a new hobby, read a book you loved, reconnected with an old friend, or just handled a really tough conversation with grace. Celebrate your progress, your effort, your resilience. You survived 100% of your worst days this year, and that alone is a massive achievement. Giving yourself permission to see your own progress builds confidence and it creates momentum. So we got to keep that momentum going. So once you have a really good list of wins, and I mean a really, really good long list, take your time with this. We'll move on to the second column, lessons. So notice I didn't call it failures or losses. That's on purpose. Anything that didn't go your way is only a failure if you don't learn from it. So think of it like a video game. When you lose a level, you don't throw that console out the window. You know where the hidden trap is. The failure just taught you part of the map. It's tuition for the school of life. So in this column, ask yourself some honest questions. What were the biggest challenges that you faced? What roadblocks did you hit? Looking back, what would you do differently? Instead of writing, I failed to save money, you might write, lesson, my habit of ordering takeout when I am tired always sinks my budget. It's a pattern. I need a better plan for meals. And then that's it. See the difference? One is a dead end of shame, and the other is a doorway to a solution. One is a judgment, the other is an insight. Dig into these lessons. What do they teach you about yourself? This first step creates an honest, balanced inventory of your year, the good, the hard, and the growth that came from both. It gives you a clear, judgment-free foundation to build on. So, now that we have a clearer picture of what happened, it's time to go a layer deeper. So step 2 is the emotional detox. This is where we deal with all of the invisible baggage we've been hauling around. It's like trying to run a race with a backpack full of rocks. Real growth isn't about just running faster. It's about dropping all those rocks. So many of our failed goals are because of unresolved emotions and limiting beliefs that we just drag around with us from one year into the next. Well, it's time to stop that. I want you to take a quiet moment and think about this past year. What are you willing to leave behind? Maybe it's a limiting belief like, I'm just bad with money, or I'm not a creative person. For me, it was, who would want to listen to anything I have to say on YouTube? These stories are like an invisible electric fence you've built around yourself. You have the freedom to go anywhere, but you stay in a small patch of grass because you've convinced yourself you'll get shocked if you try to leave. What stories about yourself are you holding back? Maybe it's a habit, like mindlessly scrolling on your phone when you feel anxious, or procrastinating on important work. These habits are usually just coping mechanisms. So don't just identify the habit. Ask, what feeling am I trying to avoid or numb with this behavior? Maybe it's a grudge. Holding on to anger towards someone is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to get sick. It just drains your energy. And let's be clear, letting go isn't about condoning what happened. It's about freeing yourself. Who do you need to forgive? Sometimes the person you need to forgive the most is yourself. Forgive yourself for the mistakes, for the times you didn't know any better. Self-compassion is absolutely essential for growth. And finally, maybe it's a relationship or dynamic that just isn't serving you anymore. This is often the hardest part. It could be a one-sided friendship, a toxic work environment, or a family dynamic that just leaves you feeling drained. You have to ask the tough question, who or what consistently drains my energy and peace? Letting go doesn't always mean cutting someone out, but it might mean setting firm boundaries, a little bit of distance, and deciding not to give your precious energy away to things that deplete you. This step requires radical honesty. Write it all down. Create a letting go list. The beliefs, the fears, the resentments, the habits. Then do a little ritual. You can safely burn the list, tear it into 1,000 pieces, or just delete the file. My personal favorite is shredding my list and then using my paper and my compost to feed my little vegetable and flower garden. The physical act of letting go can be incredibly powerful. It's a declaration that you're leaving this baggage in the past so that you can walk into the next year feeling lighter and freer. All right, so with the emotional state getting cleaner, we move to step 3, the forensic audit. So this is where we kind of put on our detective hats and imagine your stuckness is a mystery to be solved. And your life this past year is the crime scene. We're going to look for clues in the cold, hard evidence because what gets measured gets managed. You need to know where your most precious resources, your time, your money, and your energy are actually going. First, your time. Pull out your calendar from the past year. This is your timeline of events. Scroll through it month by month. What did you spend your time on? How many hours were wasted doom scrolling on social media? How many weekends were filled with obligations you secretly dreaded? How much empty space was there for rest and play? Your calendar is a map of your real priorities. Does what you see line up with the life you say you want? Be the detective. Second, your money. This is the paper trail. Open up your bank and credit card statements. You don't need a crazy spreadsheet. Just look. Where did it go? How much on necessities? How much on subscriptions? How much on impulse buys or stress spending? Money is a form of energy. Your spending is a direct reflection of your values and your emotional state. Following the money often reveals the motive behind your self-sabotage. It's about empowerment, not shame. Third, your energy. This is the witness testimony. Think back through the year. What people, activities, and environments consistently left you feeling energized, inspired, and alive? Make a list. Was it that weekly call with that supportive friend? The time you spent hiking? The hour you dedicated to a creative project? These are your energizers. Now flip it. What people, activities, and environments consistently left you feeling drained, depleted, and just gave you the ick? Make another list. Was it spending time with that one friend who only complains? Or the friend that doesn't have anything else to talk about except others? A cluttered home? These are your drainers. So once you have these two lists, the path forward becomes crystal clear. Your mission for the next year is simple. Systematically cut the drainers and intentionally schedule more of the energizers. This audit gives you objective proof of what is and isn't working, so you can stop making the same mistakes and start building a life that you are intentionally designing, not by default. Now that we've audited the past, it's time to dream about the future. But hold on, we are not setting goals yet. That's a huge mistake. Setting goals without a vision is like buying a pile of lumber, bricks, and windows with no plan. You have all the parts, but you'll probably end up with a disorganized shed instead of a home. So before you can set goals, you need a vision. The vision is the blueprint. So step 4 is about creating your vision blueprint, your North Star for the year ahead. This step is about asking, who do I want to become? And how do I want to feel? Start by imagining it's end of next year. You're sitting down to do the exact same review, but this time, this year was an absolute triumph. Your best year ever. What would have to be true for you to say that? Get absolutely specific. Really let your imagination run wild here. How do you feel in your body? Strong? Energetic? What does your daily routine look like? Calm and centered? What kind of work are you doing? Meaningful? What do relationships feel like? Supportive and fun? Write this all down in the present tense as if it's already real. For example, instead of I want to be healthier, write I am full of energy. I love moving my body every day and nourishing it with healthy, delicious food. Instead of I want to make more money, write I am financially abundant. Money flows to me easily because I create so much value in the world. Writing it this way tricks your brain into making it feel more attainable. And I am all about positive affirmations and wishing the life you want into existence. Now boil all of that down. Choose 1 to 3 words or phrases that will be your theme for the year, your guiding intention. Maybe your word for the year is courage, meaning you'll prioritize brave decisions. Maybe it's consistency, focusing on small daily actions. Maybe it's play, a reminder to have more fun. It could be connection, growth, peace, or health. This core theme becomes the filter for all of your decisions. When you are faced with a choice, you can ask, does this align with my intention of courage? Does this move me closer to peace? This is so much more powerful than a rigid list of resolutions. A resolution says, I must go to the gym 5 times a week. Miss a day and you feel like a total failure. But an intention of health gives you flexibility. One day of health is a hard workout. The next, it's a long walk. And another day, it's getting an extra hour of sleep. Your vision is the destination, and your intention is the compass. So I know this is a lot to take in. We've gone through celebrating wins, learning lessons, and detoxing baggage, auditing your life, and creating a vision. It's a deep process, and having a guide can make all the difference. I wanted to help you out. So, to help you out, I've created a free downloadable PDF workbook called the Non-Negotiable Annual Review. It walks you through every single step I'm talking about here and with all the prompts and exercises laid out for you. It's the exact template that I use. You can download it for free at the link in the description. Don't just watch this video, do the work with me. Grab that workbook and let's tackle this final crucial step. So, we finally made it to the last step, the intentional roadmap. This is where the rubber meets the road. We take that big, beautiful vision and your core themes and turn them into a real-world action plan. This is where we finally set goals, but we do it the right way. Because you've done all the previous 4 steps, your goals will be rooted in self-awareness, aligned with your values, and based on reality. For each of your 1 to 3 core intentions, brainstorm a few key goals. A goal is a tangible outcome that proves you're living out your intention. If your intention is health, your goals could be complete a 5K race, strength train twice a week, and get 7 to 8 hours of sleep 5 nights a week. Once you have these goals, we need to make them SMART. So SMART is a classic framework for a reason. It works. Think of it like a GPS. A vague goal is like telling your GPS, I want to go somewhere nice. It can't give you directions. A SMART goal is like typing in the exact address. Now you have a clear route. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So first, let's talk about specific. Your goal needs to be crystal clear. Get healthier is not a goal, it's a wish. Walk for 30 minutes, 5 days a week is specific. Next, measurable. How will you track progress? Save more money isn't measurable. Save $5,000 by December 31st is. Achievable. This is where your annual review pays off. Your goal should stretch you, but it shouldn't be so crazy you're setting yourself up to fail. If you haven't run a mile in 5 years, planning to run a marathon in 3 months is probably not achievable. A 5K is. So relevant. That's the next thing we need to tackle. Does this goal actually matter? Does it line up with your vision blueprint? Don't set a goal to get a promotion if the blueprint shows that you want to start your own business. So the last part of the SMART structure is time-bound. Your goal needs a deadline. So for example, by my birthday, by my anniversary. That way you have a clear time point of when you should be there. But don't stop there. A goal is just a target. You need a plan to hit it. For each SMART goal, break it down into the smallest possible next steps. If your goal is to save $5,000, what's the very first step? Is it to open a high-yield savings account? Is it to cancel those unused subscriptions you found in your forensic audit? Your final task is to take these tiny first steps and schedule them right now. Open your calendar and block out the time. Thursday at 6 p.m., research saving accounts for 30 minutes. Saturday morning, go for a 15-minute walk. Scheduling it makes it real. Progress doesn't come from giant leaps. It comes from consistent execution of these Tiny, tiny, small scheduled steps. This roadmap is your bridge from dream to done. The end of the year is a powerful time. You can feel it, right? There's this collective energy of change in the air, but lasting change doesn't start on January 1st with a random list of resolutions. It starts now, in these final weeks, with a quiet, honest, and courageous look in the rearview mirror. By going through this 5-step process, you are doing what most people won't. You are trading wishful thinking for intentional design. You are honoring the person you were, and you are consciously creating the person you want to become. Imagine walking into the year not with a vague hope, but with a clear plan. A plan born from your own wisdom, aligned with your deepest values, and built on self-awareness. Imagine knowing exactly what you want, why you want it, and what the very next step is. That's not motivation. That is power. That is clarity. That is the difference between another year of the same old story and a year of profound growth. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Don't be one of the 94% who lets their goals fizzle out by February. Do this before the year ends. You owe it to your future self. So thank you so much for spending this time with me. I really hope this process serves you. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And don't forget to subscribe for more content on living an intentional life. Most importantly, remember to download your free non-negotiable annual review workbook from the link in the description. And I have a question for you. What is one win, big or small, that you are celebrating from the past year? Share it in the comments below. Let's fill the comment section with celebration and inspire each other. Have a beautiful end to your year, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!